Alright, hi folks, I'm very excited to be here with you today. Welcome to Getting Started to Solidworks. This is my first video on a series of videos that I hopefully plan to upload into YouTube, where I hope to explain to everybody some of the very basics of Solidworks, how to get started with this beautiful piece of software, and hopefully where I will try to introduce you to some really good tools and, well, to this beautiful art of CADing. So let's get started. As you can see in here, this is the screen that will appear. This is Solidworks, of course, version 2020. And this is the very first screen that will appear once you open the software. So in order to proceed, we need to click in there where it says part. We will look over at each one of these guys as we proceed in the series of videos, but for today's video, we'll just go directly for part. So let's click in there, double click or just click. Let's give it a second for that to load. Alright, and if you made it this far already in the video, this is what will appear in your SolidWorks version. It will take you directly to this blank space. So in order to get started, you'll see here that it says Sketch. So we will click where it says, alright, remove where here in Sketch, and then SolidWorks will ask us to choose a plane. We can choose the front plane, the top plane, or the right plane. We'll see afterwards how to create planes as you wish, like with any angle or orientation, but for simplicity we got these three planes, so I'm gonna go today for top. And yes, our view will be shifted such that we will see the top plane from above. And yeah, what we can do with this is that we have a couple of different figures that we can draw. We'll go literally one by one today on how to use them. But before we do that, let me just point out, like, this set of axes as you see there, that's the origin. And that point in there is, well, redundantly, it's the global origin. So every single thing that you will draw from now onwards, just do me a favor, always use that point as the origin. Always choose that point whenever you're beginning to draw a figure, because that will help, that would save you so much time, so much energy, so much trouble in the future. So with that being said, let's get started with the simplest of them all, which is a line. So the line, let's draw the line from the origin, and yeah, let's go somewhere. Yeah, let's draw a couple of lines here. Let's draw some sort of like figure here. And you see how, like, we have like these dashed lines that they show whether this is perpendicular or whether that's like a 45-degree angle from there. I just wanted, yeah, there we go, such that I can go back to the origin. And so we have this sort of boat-shaped thing, and you'll see first thing from here is that these two lines are black, while these lines are just blue, which means that the blue lines are underdefined. If this works well, I could potentially click on that line, and yeah, you can drag this. So that will cause a lot of trouble. How do we solve that? Well, essentially we have this bad guy in here that's called the smart dimension. So that allows us to, well, as the name says, to provide a dimension to each one of these lines. And not only that, we can also provide an angle too. So with that being said, I'm just gonna, yeah, let's say instead of 1.58 inches, I'll go for 2 inches there. And this guy, I'll just make it 3. But yeah, but you see, it moves that line in there. So what about, if I click on that line and I click in this line, I can specify that angle. So let's say I want an angle of 150 degrees. So it brought our line in there. Now that we're on that, let's specify that length to be, I don't know, let's go by 0.5 inches. Similarly, let's do the same thing over there, and let's define our angle. Oh, that's beautiful, 165 degrees. Let's also define that length. I'll just keep it, I'm just gonna define stuff really quickly. And you'll see now everything is turning black. But just don't, oh, well, don't be fooled, I was gonna say, but when you see this sign show up in here that says make dimension driven, it means that you have already defined everything. So I'm going to go cancel, and yes, as you can see down there, it says that everything has been fully defined, which is beautiful. So we got our first sketch done. Congratulations. But I don't want to use the sketch for anything, so I'll just like select all of this and I'll delete. We need to continue moving forwards. So now you learn how to use line features. In here, before we continue, I should mention that we're on the inches scale, as you can see there. But if you click over there, you can change that to millimeters, centimeter, meters, or well, you can even edit that to well use your favorite type of unit. So if you're like me, that you like SI units, you can go for SI. But for simplicity, I'll just stay in inches for now. So what we will do next is we'll continue exploring in here the line feature, and we also have, well, before we go to center line, we just go to midpoint line, which is essentially a similar thing. Just let's click again in the origin and it draws the line, but it is symmetrical through the point that you have chosen there. So yeah, you have it's still a single segment, but it has like, well, two equal sides. Yeah, let's define that as usual. So yeah, there you go. So this will be handy for some applications. You'll see afterwards. And then finishing up, wrapping up the line sequence, we have the center line. Center lines are super important because these are like construction lines. These are lines that we don't really want them in our sketch, but they help us whenever we need to construct more complicated geometries. For now, I'm just like drawing them in here. Yeah, let's specify that angle over there. And you see, if we define that guy over there, yeah, everything goes black. I should also define that one, for that one to go black. Yeah, so now we got a fully defined sketch, as you can see there. And well, these lines, you'll find them handy afterwards, but it's good to introduce them right now. So let's go ahead and delete that. So, all right, we got a couple of more tools in here. Let's go ahead with one of my favorite ones, which is the circle. So essentially, a circle, it will ask you to choose a point in space. Of course, we will go for the origin. Always choose the origin. Please do me that favor. And yeah, you just drag from there and you begin to draw your circle. As you see, if we do not define, we do not like smart dimension this circle, you'll be able to click in it and just drag and make it bigger and smaller, which we do not want, because that might complicate your future sketches. So yeah, let's just go ahead and smart dimension that. So let's click there, let's go for 5 inches. Let's eliminate that because we don't want it yet. And then here you can see you can do perimeter circles, but I won't cover that one because it's rarely used. Then here we got rectangle, right? So we got corner rectangle and center rectangle. These are the two that are, well, the most widely used in SolidWorks, in my opinion, in my time, at least in my experience using this. So corner rectangle, essentially we need to choose 2 points, 2 opposite corners. So again, one corner has to always be the origin, and then we choose the other corner over there. And essentially, again, let's define that guy over there. Let's define in here, and we got ourselves a fully defined rectangle, because of course you need at least 2 points in there and 2 lines to define, and then you have the whole thing drawn. Similarly, we got our center rectangle, where we need to choose the origin, and then voila, we got a fully symmetrical rectangle along these 2 axes over there. As usual, let's give that a dimension of 10, and this guy a dimension of 15, and there we got it. Always, if you want to exit a tool or anything, you can just like click ESC and then just drag and everything. Yeah, I'm moving like this with my mouse. I'm connected from a Macintosh computer right now, so it's a little bit harder to use SolidWorks since I'm remote desktoping to like a Windows computer. So this is a very complicated thing. But anyways, let's continue with our list of shapes. So now we got, for instance, in here, this sort of like I don't know how to call it. They call it straight slot. We'll see it in a second. So here's where you see the power of having a center line. So let's draw a center line in there. And let's make this one be length 6. And now let's suppose we want to do that slot, because that slot is asking us for 2 points in space. So I'm going to choose that point, and I'm going to choose that point. And then we just drag like that. And there we got our figure drawn. So it's essentially a straight line followed by half a circle over there. But what do we need to define here? First thing we need to define is the radius of that semicircle. So we just click in there, and you can literally, like, when you drag your mouse like that, you're also dragging the position at which that is going to be drawn. So let's say that is 2.25. And then since this guy, that dashed line in there was defined from that point to that point, everything will be defined. So you see I'm putting a lot of emphasis on defining your sketches, which is very convenient in the future as you continue to, draw more complicated geometries and things. So let's go ahead and eliminate that. You can also do, if you don't want to do like a full circle, you can do arches, for instance. The easiest one of them all is the 3-point arch, but again, it's asking you to choose 2 points in space. So what we're gonna do is, let's go here to sketch. It's moving a lot. And here we go. Let's draw another center line to have 2 points in sketch, nicely laid out in our canvas. Yeah, I guess that's how you would call this white area over there. And then, let's give that a size. Oh, there we go. That's 10. You just click there, okay. And now, well, there's different sort of arches you can do. I usually use these two, so those are the two that I'll just go ahead and explain you. 3-point arch, fairly simple thing in here. You just go 1 point, and then you just drag and make a circle as big as you want. And you see that guy in there, that small arrow, which I'm trying to point, but it's moving. That would be the center of that circle that you're drawing. So yeah, let's give it that size, and of course, let's click here in Smart Dimension. Let's define that radius over there. It turned out it's 6.08. If we want to be more precise, we can specify that over there. Yeah, and here it says fully defined, so we're good. If we wanted to use the other tool, we can go for center point arch. So that is convenient whenever, so in here this time we can select the middle point. We select the middle point, then another point over there. And then you can draw an arch like that, and voila. And that should be even fully defined. You see, it should be fully black, that line. And it also says fully defined. So there we go. We got a nice sketch, nicely laid out in there. But I'm just going to go ahead and erase this. And then, some other different figures that you can do is this guy, for instance, which is a polygon. So let's go ahead and... disappeared. Messing around. So let's click in there. And then let's go ahead and choose that point. So by default, if I'm not mistaken, Solidworks will draw you a hexagon, as you can see over here. I just want it to be like level, like this line to be parallel to. It's just not working. Don't worry, but we'll just leave it like that because we can define a couple of variables here. So there, like it says 6 sides. Let's go ahead and go for 10. You see what that looks like. There we go, it modifies. Then, if I'm not mistaken, that is the size of the inner circle that you can like inscribe. That it would be that circle that you can see in there. So yeah, you could even define that length, or you can even you can specify that. So let's go for 10 inches. But alternatively, you can just choose one of those sides, and that will be enough. And then that angle in there specifies, how I was struggling to keep that straight. So I'm just gonna go for, I don't know, let's go for 180 degrees. What that takes us. All right, that's pretty good. Let's click OK. We're happy with our shape. And let's smart dimension this thing. So let's try just smart dimensioning one of those lines. So you just click there and you just keep on clicking until it begins to drag itself. Oh, I do not want to define that. I want to define just that line. All right, there we go. That's 325 inches. Oh, 324. Let's click OK. Oh, that did not help. So we can click on that point over there and then there on that circle. Oh, it did not work. There we go. So let's make that be yeah, the 526. We'll make that dimension driven. Well, you essentially you need to keep on trying until at some point, you know, it just like it will appear there that it's all fully defined. But I just don't want to keep you bored just trying to do that. So I'll just go ahead and finish with the ellipse. I'll leave that tool over there. That's the spline. I'll leave it for another video because it's so beautiful, that tool, that it's just worth explaining in another video. But yeah, we'll just use ellipse in here. So let's draw this. The first thing that you're defining on the ellipse is one of the major diameters. Then you can define the other one. Of course, you can make that like tall, like that. So yeah, let's say we want that shape in there. Then here you can define that would be the bigger diameter. Let's say that's 10. It's wide, and let's make the little diameter be 5. But again, this guy is not fully defined, so what we would need to do is click on those 2 points in there, and yeah, let's go for 10. Well, 10, actually the radius was 5, and this guy should be 20. And now, if I'm not mistaken, things should turn black, but they are not. Honestly, I haven't really played around with this figure before, so this is good enough. But let's just eliminate that. Alright, so now we've covered the basics of that. What we haven't seen yet is this thing over here. That's called a sketch fillet. And it also has a sketch chamfer. How does that work? So let's go ahead in here and use a center rectangle. So let's draw a quick rectangle there. Let's make it even a square. Squares are fun. And I should say that there's so many different ways of doing whatever you need to do in Solidworks. By any means, what I'll show you in these videos is the only way, but it's just a way if it makes you feel better. So if we go here to sketch fillet, what this does is let's click in there and I'll show you. You can choose like one point like that one, and let's choose those 2 points. And then if you see it over there, what we can do is just specify a radius, right? So let's go here for 0.5. Let's see what that does. All right, so that makes those 2 edges round. So yeah, let's click OK. I'm happy with that. What about this guy? Then we got the sketch chamfer. Let's choose these 2 other fellas over there. I believe, or you have to choose those. Oh, there you go. Just choose both sides like that, and it should. Yeah, there you can see it. Let's see what happens if we change that dimension there. Nothing. Well, you should have changed that dimension before, honestly. Oh, well, there you go. You got those 2 figures there. It might then, if you don't like them at all, you can just go back. Yeah, you'll be able to do them again. For instance, let's suppose I want to do those to be bigger, so I'll just go for 1 inch, and then yeah, I'll just exit that, and then I'll do the chamfer here. But yeah, just specify that length before. Oh, there we go. Now when we choose that side and that side, there we go, and that will be. It goes 1 inch like that, 1 inch like that, so that should be √2 over there. Since that's 10 inches, yeah, it is small. Alright, so let's say we're happy with this shape. So what are the sort of things that we can do using this shape? So then we can exit the sketch, and essentially we'll just have that shape in there, and you'll see sketch 1, and we're just happy with that. We can exit our sketch, or we can right click in there. Let's edit our sketch, and then we go here to features, and God, there are so many different features, so many different things that you can do with this thing. Primarily I'm gonna play around with this. I'm gonna show you today this one, and I'm going to show you around that one, and I'll leave many of, perhaps I'll also show you that one, and I'll leave many of these for other videos afterwards. But what does boss extrude do? Boss extrude, it selects like the only area that you have. So you see how all of that used to be pink, or well, violet, now it's yellow. So let's, if you actually click on that arrow, right, you see that arrow over there, and then you just like drag it up. It's not allowing me now, but there you go. When it goes orange, you can move this up and down, and you can see how you have a volume. You can give this volume, in other words. To be more precise, you can specify that over there. So let's go for 3 inches tall, and then it asks you in here if you want to go for a second direction, which would be that you see that arrow over there. That would allow you to also extrude on that direction, the opposite one. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see what that's. All right. So we got a pretty beautiful shape over there. So let's say that we are happy with that. All right, you've done your first shape. Looks pretty awesome, right? But now here's where things begin to get way more interesting. And you gotta remember that fillet where we did it in there. You can also do the following thing. So, well, you also have chamfer if you wanted to, but I'll just stay with fillet. So let's say I want to fillet that edge over there. Let's say these. I'm gonna choose those 5 edges there. So I just kept on clicking those, and they show up over there. And then I'll say, and here we go full preview. That shows us how that's gonna look. Let's be generous. Let's give this half an inch. Oh no, that's 0.5 inches. That's too much. Half an inch there. There we go. Let's say we're well. Here there's different models of things that you can do. Yeah, it will give me an error because I'm selecting many edges at the same time. But hey, let's go here simple, and let's click OK. Nice. So now we got a pretty nice curved edges over there. We can do the same thing here with the chamfer. We can choose that. Well, it's pointless because we already have that chamfer in there. But yeah, and it also allows you to select the angle at which you would like that to happen. And let's do full preview of that. Let's say we want to do 9.5 inches over there. And let's see what that does. It's not even allowing me to, because I'm just writing some nonsense in there. And I think that's like even too big of a thing. Yeah, it's not even allowing me, so just don't try that. Unless you actually need that. Alright, so we got our box in here. That's pretty simple. But now, what if you wanted to do a hole for that box? Or what if you wanted to do another box on top of this box? So here's where we go back to sketch. And you remember our famous sketch. We can click in there, and then we can click in any one of these faces and do a sketch there. So I'm gonna choose that face there. And again, our origin appears there, which generally is well, the center of that face, of that rectangle. Also include that part. So let's do a circle in there. Let's define it, of course. And yeah, let's say that's 3 inches diameter. And then let's use, now it allows us to also choose this guy, but I'm gonna save it for a second. I'm gonna go for this one again. And yeah, let's give 3 inches to that. And there we go. We got ourselves some sort of I don't know, shaft coming out from the box. Now let's go ahead. Let's go back to sketch. Let's go here to sketch. Let's click in that surface in there. Let's do another circle. Also, again, that point will be this time the center of that thing. So again, I just clicked on sketch, then on that surface there, and then these set of axes appear there. So that's the point I'm choosing. Let's define that to be I don't know, 1.5 inches diameter. And now here's where the fun begins. Let's extrude cut. So now I'm gonna do a hole. You can do a hole that goes all the way up to there, but I'll just make it go all the way through. And there I'm being exaggerated. I just make it go, just to ensure that. To be precise, you can specify that length in there. I guess it should be 13. That should give us enough. Let's see if that's okay. If we want to modify our view, we go here to view, modify, and then you click here and rotate. So you just click there and then you can move your slide, and let's see, can we see the other side? Yes, indeed, we can see the other side. All right, so we got like an interesting shape. I don't know what you would use this for in the real world. Let's hit X. That way we can exit like the viewer there. All right, let's do now another sketch. Let's do this time on that surface. I'm gonna do a center rectangle. Let's see how that goes. I'll draw it like that. Let's go ahead and define that rectangle. Let's make that 6 inches. You're 6 inches. And I'll try to copy that shape there. So here we go. Back to sketch fillet, and I'm gonna choose that edge and that edge. And yeah, I'm happy with the radius being 1 inch. I'll hit OK. And then let's go here to sketch chamfer. I think we said that was 1 inch. So we'll choose that side and that side. So we'll have that shape in there. And now let's, oh yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's bring that up. Oh, that's too high. So let's make that be 3 inches too. So now we got like a nice extrusion out of this box in there. What about now? Let's suppose you wanted to do like a cut like that one. You want like some hole to be dug in there, but you want that to have the same shape as that guy. So fear no more. If I'm not mistaken, you can go here to where it says sketch, and then in here there is a place where it says, I think there's somewhere where it says offset entities. Well, not that in there. Now let's do a sketch. Now I'm gonna choose that surface in there, and then there should be somewhere where it says well, I'll save that for another tutorial. But there's a way to actually copy that shape directly in there. But I think that's too advanced for today. Let's suppose now that let's do a quick center line. But now I want, let's do a center line that goes all the way up to there. That way we have a nice diagonal. You go from here to here. All right. So you'll see it's black because all of these dimensions are already defined. And now we are gonna go for our slot piece in here. I'm gonna choose that point. I want to choose that point. Yeah, I'll just make it that big. Yeah, let's say that there's like 1 inch there. And let's extrude that by just 1 inch, not much. Okay, so now we got like some other piece in there, and now yeah, let's go ahead and do another sketch. This time on that surface over there. Oh no, it didn't actually work. There we go. And now I'm gonna do a line like this, just a line that is parallel to. There we go. When the yellow box that is besides the pencil appears, that means that your line is like parallel or something. Yeah, so I'll leave it like that. I just want to have that line as a reference. You'll see why in a second. You just give it any dimension that you want, nothing special. And now I'm gonna draw another line, let's say like that. Yeah, let's also give it a dimension or two. Let's say that's 1.5 inches. Because now what we can do is we can, yeah, let's click over there and let's define, oh, it's actually not working yet, because I want to define the angle between there, because let's suppose we've been told that like that point has to be at a, from there that distance at some particular angle. So yeah, we can definitely do that. Oh, there we go. Let's say 150 degrees. There we go, beautiful. And then we can draw a quick circle over there. Let's dimension that to be, oh no, I did not want to do that. Dimension that be, all right, let's go for 0.5 inches there. And then let's suppose you want to have the exact opposite thing, but on that side over there. So we're gonna do this. We'll just draw a line, and you'll see there's a, let's see if oh no, I'll just go here again to center line. I just wanted, I'm gonna draw a line, just a random line like that one. Let's define, let's give it any length, it doesn't matter. What I'm gonna do is I want this angle to be 90 degrees. So I'll go ahead there and define that to be 90 degrees. Why? Because I'm gonna use that line as a mirror line or like an edge. Because what we can do is, where it says in here mirror entities, right? You can choose, well, the entities to mirror, so I'm gonna choose that circle and of course choose that line. And then mirror about, what I mirrored about this guy over there. So, oh, that's pretty cool. Let's hit it OK. And you'll see, since we mirrored like that line and well, now everything is yellow. And it says no solution found. Well, that's very strange. Let me just exit the sketch real quick. Yeah, now this is your first complaint. Let's see what's going on in here. Let's just edit that sketch there. I'll just eliminate that. It's just causing trouble. Anyways, I just wanted to show you that yes, it's possible to mirror things. You need to be careful with what you do. Let me just go ahead and define those two again there. Sometimes it says. Alright, so now we are fully defined again. Let's try again to mirror this and that about that guy. But we got the same mistake again. So I'm just curious to see if just mirroring that mirror about that if it's any better. Alright, now we're good. Well, anyways, what we can do with this is we go here to features and yeah, let's extrude cut. Yeah, it already selects those two circles. Let's go for 10 inches. Let's see, will that be enough to cut? Might be. Just to be sure, let's go for 15 that way. Alright, now we got our two holes in there. We can go here to view, modify, rotate, and you can see your creation from above. Let's see if the holes actually made it past. Oh, well, it's not allowing me. Oh, there you go. You can see the bottom of the canvas over there. Alright, so you got a nice shape, nicely drawn in there. As you can see, there's many different things that you can do. Let's wrap up this thing by just doing one more sketch. Let's do it on that surface. Oh, let me just exit there. Alright, let's do a sketch here in the surface. Let's just make a very, let's just, you know what, let's do a rectangle instead. A bit doing circles. There's like a big one there. Of course, here it says sketch, define it. 4 inches, 6 inches. Yeah, let's just extrude it all. You see, just show that all of that is possible. All right. Yeah, 15 inches goes, why not? Now you got, yeah, well, you can see there the holes from above. So there you go. You got it. You got a nice function. If you want to like see this from different sides, you can click on the spacebar of your keyboard. Let's do that right away, and this thing will appear. So we click that hexagon in there, it will show us an asymmetric view like that one. And we click the spacebar. This is a quick way of just navigating around your piece. Alright, that looks pretty like that. And then we can choose this rectangle over there, and we see it like that. Yeah, you can see that circle from there. You can see it like that. I just wanna, let's go back to, well, you can see it also from above. But I wanna see it from here again. Let's see. Oh, well, sometimes, you know, it messes around with you a little bit. Yeah, let's go over there. Well, regardless, oh yeah, that's your piece. What we can do is, if you see that face in there, you can right click there, and well, you can go here to appearances, and you can color this, and you can choose where you want to color the face, where you want to color like the whole boss extrude and body. So let's see the differences. Let's go for face first. Well, let's go actually for body, from bigger to smaller. So we go to body, right? All of this thing, which is a single body, will be colored. So we can choose green, for instance, and all of that thing will be colored green. So let's click OK. Now, if you choose in there, I go again, right click in there. I'm gonna go for boss extrude number 2. And we can color that. Yeah, it already selects that area, so yes, that's gonna be purple. You'll see that if you want that also to be purple in there, let's click OK. You should also click in that area inside of it, and let's say, all right. Well, actually, we can go for cut extrude. So also the cut over there should also be violet there. And you can also go only to that face. I can just go there and say, all right, I just want that face to be red. Let's go ahead and choose that red. And there, you'll see, let me just, just view, modify, rotate. You should see that that is also purple because it was part of that feature before. Alright, so here you go to your first piece, covering some of the very basics of Solidworks. And in here, this is the feature tree where you can see each one of your sketches and well, all of the things you've done. So we've done quite a lot today. One last thing before leaving you guys, setting you free, is that you can go. Well, you can just kind of select, just put your mouse in there. It will show you what thing corresponds to each thing, and you can always go back, right clicking in there and edit that if you just don't like it. So let me just, I'm gonna go spacebar real quick, then choose that plane in there. That way we can see this from above. All right, that's pretty nice. And yeah, let's say I want that circle really to be, let's just zoom in there so we can see better. So I want that circle to be 1 inch big. Let's see if it actually did that. All right, it did that one 1 inch big, and since it was a mirror, it also did that one big. So let's exit that. So it did that. Let me just view more. I'm curious to see one thing real quick. Yeah, I just want to see that like it still went all the way through. So you can edit that. You can also, besides only editing the sketch, you can just go back here to boss extrude and you can edit how tall. You can go here and say, all right, let's give that 5 inches instead. Oh yeah, we can also edit that stuff. All right, folks. Thank you for staying around until this long. It was a pleasure going over these tools, and stay tuned for the coming videos where we'll be covering even more stuff, even more cool stuff in SolidWorks. For the time being, just begin practicing all of these things. Have a nice one. Bye bye.